Okay, boys and girls, don't panic. This is not going to be a big deal. You got this. All right, I'm not going to be in because I have to do some professional development, which is going to be oh so much fun. But you got this paper. We've talked a lot about this. You guys have been working on this. This should be a no-brainer for y'all. Okay, so just pay attention. Don't panic. You got this tutorial here if you need it. Okay, Mister, I lost my essay package. You know what? My guest teacher's not going to be able to help you out with that one, so you're on your own. Go to mrhistory.us, scroll down to the social contract contract essay article, click on read more and download the link. And guys, stop losing stuff, okay? Enough is enough already. Right here, you can see where you need to go. Go to mrhistory.us, about a third of the way down, social contract essay, click on read more. It's going to come up. It'll give you an opportunity to download the link, and that's what I want you to do. And there you go. If you want to print it out, I guess you can print it out. And like I said, please stop losing stuff. Mister, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, once again, my guest teacher's not going to be able to help you out that much. So I've talked this to death with y'all. But one more time, and you got it here. The basic paper is who is right, Hobbes or Locke. Hobbes said that a social contract occurs when man gives up his freedom for protection. Government is something that we use to protect us from other bad people. So if y'all need something to think about the purge, or think about what happened to people after Hurricane Katrina, or what happens in a riot when everything falls apart. Okay? Hobbes said that's why we create a social contract, because man is inherently bad. Man is inherently going to take what he wants from other men unless there is a strong government that is going to force people to behave and punish those who won't. That's Hobbes' social contract. We give up freedom for protection. Locke's social contract is something that's a lot different. Locke says that man makes an agreement with government to preserve these already God-given and natural rights of life, liberty, and happiness. We already have these rights. They already exist. But Locke says we enter into an agreement with government, and government's going to be kind of like the guarantor. They're going to make sure that life, liberty, and happiness are conditions that they are going to work very hard to protect and make sure that people get them. So that's how Locke and Hobbes are different. Your question and what you're going to be writing about is, who do you agree with, Hobbes or Locke? Folks, the first paragraph, of course, is your introductory paragraph. I want a hook. I want some clever little story. I want some anecdote. You can give me a short quote, okay? Make it original. Make it something interesting. Interest the reader in what you're about to talk about. You need to state the problem. The problem is that, you know, there's this thing called the social contract, and a couple of guys, Hobbes and Locke, had two totally different ideas on what the social contract looks like. You need to choose which one of these guys you're going to believe. So I need you to state the problem being the social contract, and how there are different viewpoints on the social contract. You need to explain where Hobbes is coming from and where Locke is coming from. And then finally, you need to let me and the other readers know exactly where you're coming down on this. Hobbes is correct when he states the social contract is there to protect us from bad people, blah, 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 blah. Locke is correct when he says the social contract is there to preserve and enhance our rights to life, liberty, and happiness because blah, 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 blah. That's what your introduction is going to be, and you want it to be good. Guys and girls, listen to me. And this is important. Do not plagiarize. I know what you guys and girls write like. I know the words and the language you use. I know the phrases that you write. Don't throw in stuff that I know is not going to be you. Because you know what? I have Google at home too. And all I have to do is type in one or two of your sentences, and I'm going to find out exactly where you got it from. And if I find out you guys are cheating on this after I've just wasted 30 seconds of my life telling you not to, I'm not going to be too happy with you. This is going to end poorly for you. Now, you need to write. Guys and girls, you need to have some main body paragraphs. And once again, a lot of you folks are freaking out over this. Guys, you should have at least 3. I could very easily see 4 or 5 of these things coming out. What's your first one going to be? Guys and girls, Hobbes and Locke came out of the times that they were living in. This is where their ideas come from. This is where Hobbes' idea of the social contract and Locke's idea of the social contract, they get these ideas from looking at the world around them. They studied human nature, they studied current events, the political events that were occurring in their lives, and then they drew up their ideas of what the social contract was. So that first main body paragraph should be dealing with what, if you're a Hobbes fan, what did Hobbes see and how were his ideas on the social contract shaped by what he saw during the English Civil War? If you're supporting Locke, what was going on in England when Locke was alive that shaped what gave Locke his ideas about the government being a guarantor of life, liberty, and happiness? This is what you should be doing in your first paragraph. Okay? Now, the next couple of paragraphs, guys, at least one. I think you should be able to do two with no problems. Should give some historical examples that prove that your guy is right about this social contract debate. Folks, there's a million different historical events that you can use. You can use the American Revolution. You can use the Civil War. You can use World War I. You could use World War II. You could use the Great Depression. You could use FDR's New Deal. You could use the Civil Rights Movement. There's literally hundreds of examples that you should be able to pull from 18th, 19th, and 20th century American history that should be able to illustrate Hobbes and Locke's ideas very, very clearly and very effectively. And if you can't come up with at least a couple of those things, I want to know what Mr. Publita or Mr. Gorton was teaching you when y'all took American history last year. I'm disappointed. A final main body paragraph should give a modern day example. So you could talk about, what happened after Hurricane Katrina. You could talk about what happened in Ferguson. You could talk about how President Obama was talking about this illegal alien amnesty and how that plays into Locke or Hobbes. Guys and girls, literally there are tons and tons of things going on right now, today, here in the United States and throughout the world that illustrates both Hobbes' idea of the social contract, that we create a government or we enter into a social contract with the government to protect us from bad people, or Locke's idea that the government is there to guarantee us life, liberty, and happiness, and that's what the contract is there for. The government protecting our life, liberty, and happiness. So folks, go check out CNN or go to Fox.com or go find some other news source where you can find something useful and something that you can use. And that should be a paragraph that you can be able to write on. Finally, guys and girls, you want to wrap it up with a conclusion. Actually, hold on a second. Before we get to the conclusion, I'm sorry. How does each one of your main body paragraphs supposed to look like? Guys, write your main idea. Then write a supporting detail and elaborate on that point. You can have more than one main supporting detail. As a matter of fact, having a couple, 2 or 3 supporting details, not a bad idea. One of those supporting details should be a quote or some direct piece of explicit evidence. If you want at the end, you can tack on some sort of a summary sentence where you kind of summarize everything that you wrote in that paragraph. Otherwise, give me a transition that's going to lead me over to the next paragraph in your arguments. Now we're going to get to your conclusion. Guys and girls, restate but don't repeat your thesis statement. If I wanted to read your thesis statement, I'll go up to the beginning of your paper and I'll read it again. But newsflash, I don't. I would like you to restate your thesis, give me some idea what you're talking about, so I don't have to go back to the beginning of your paper and say, what the heck was this kid writing about now? Restate it, but do not repeat it. Review your main points. Go back to each one of those main body paragraphs. You should have at least 3 of them, hopefully 4, maybe even 5. I don't know. It depends upon how strong are you writer are you? How good of an ideas do you have? How smart are you feeling this week? Whatever it is, guys and girls, review those main points, but don't repeat them. If I wanted the shopping list of your main ideas, I'd write them down myself. And then, guys and girls, give me some nice closing line to wrap everything